Hello, everybody. We're here with José Pimpo, the organizer, or one of the organizers, of Talent Land, which is a wonderful, wonderful event that we're at right now. So it's a pleasure to have you here, José.
Likewise.
How are you doing? You look really chill. You know, one of the things that I really like about José is we saw him today in the queue. We were getting like VIP treatment taken by his assistants through, and José turns up to the event, gets to the back of the queue, and waits in the queue like everyone else.
Yeah, I mean,
That's a testament to the type of guy that you are, you know? So it's nice to see. Nice to see you.
Likewise, and great having you guys here finally. In Guadalajara and in Talent Land, and Blockchain Land.
Yeah, I'm so glad that we can finally do something together. Because I think we met in it was HivesNest in September. It feels like it's a lot longer than that.
Well, I've been since the start of Hive, but we hadn't met each other.
Yeah. So it's nice that you've obviously got a very open mind to some of the things that are being done on Hive, and we've spoken a little bit, and there's lots of ideas and potential things happening between us. So I'm very glad that we could come and at least take a small bite and start off with a small thing with Talent Land and hopefully grow from here. You know, I think it's going to be really cool.
And getting to know the event, and we're just starting.
Yeah.
It's going to be full in some hours.
Man, the event is amazing. It's amazing. I am honestly quite blown away. This is probably one of the conferences I've been to with the most people. I didn't expect it, you know, because a lot of, especially during the bear market in Europe, you know, you go and there's like 150 people there, you know, at the event. And you come here, I think in the morning there must have been at least 3,000 people here, just straight away, you know. And I remember you saying to me that you often get 60,000 people.
Last year we had 62,000 people. So this year we already sold 40,000 tickets. Yeah. And we have 6,000 people on camping. We also have a camping
I saw a camping area. It's just...
Yeah, so people stay here 24/7 the 4 days of the event. And besides that, I mean, they sleep here, they're here. And it's a 24/7 event. So sometimes there's things at 2 a.m, at midnight. We have a DJ contest, etc. So we have around 20 stages and the main stage. One of them is Blockchain Land, but we also have... for developing soft skills, for women, for developers, for creatives. So we have different thematics, artificial intelligence, etc. And for people from all ages, I mean, there's even content for kids and for educators of kids. So that is also cool because you see also kids from elementary schools to CEO of companies here. There's content for all ages and for all levels. And besides that, you have all these thematics, including the ones that are like hot topics right now. No, we started with for example, AI stage a couple of years ago, and now it's one of the most demanded ones. The same thing with Blockchain Land. We started with that 6 years ago, and now it's a whole land, and we have done the event. So this year we're also expecting over 40,000 people, and we also have a small free zone for people to get to know the event, and also for kids, etc. Last year we had over 20,000 people showing up into that little space.
So you kind of have a way of predicting the future almost.
Well,
because it seems if there's something at Talent Land within 2 or 3 years, it seems to be a mainstream thing.
Yeah, I mean, we have mainstream interest topics, but we also have things that are coming and are getting some interest and growing. I mean, one of them, of course, was AI, blockchain too. I mean, 6 years ago when we started with the stages, and there's other initiatives that we have done that started, for example, as a request from the government, as a request from a company, etc. And we take up with those as an experiment, and then some of them take off as a land by itself.
So what have you got that's interesting at the moment? What do you feel like is cutting edge and maybe in 2 or 3 years will be?
I mean, artificial intelligence has gotten a lot of hype, but I think most people talk and have heard about it, but it's like blockchain. They have never used it. They don't understand. They don't have. I mean, that's one definitely of people having not easier onboarding, but finding what it is useful for them in their day-to-day or in their jobs, and integrating that. And the other, of course, blockchain. I mean, we've been for a while in this industry, but we're just getting started. I mean, ETF was like getting people to get to know what Bitcoin is, etc. But they're not actually using Bitcoin as a technology.
On the base layer.
They need to make the next step and then start making infrastructure companies, and getting involved in the industry, and also creating more community and seeing how eventually like Bitcoin and all the technologies become invisible and just works on the
Seamlessly.
Yeah.
So you just explain to me with Talentland. You got involved with Talentland because of blockchain initially, and then it grew into this, or was it something you were invited to bring the blockchain side? Because you're one of the biggest influencers in South America for blockchain, so I'm assuming that's what you brought to the table.
Yeah. So before this event, my partners used to do another event that was called Campus Party. And that is a big technology event that started in Spain. And my partner made that grow from 0 to like 16,000 people here in Mexico. And he did it in various places in Latin America. He did that for various years. And about 7 years ago, he decided that he wanted to make something even bigger and his own brand. So he created Talentland. So he did the first edition, and it was a huge success. I mean, it grew even more from 16,000 people. The first event was 20,000 people, so it was quite big, even for Mexico. That's a big event, and it started with some small lands. And for example, blockchain was just a stage; it wasn't a whole area, so it was just an experiment. And like that, there have been other experiments. And when they were doing the previous event, I used to work at Bitso. I was VP there for some years, since almost the beginning, 2015. And we didn't have any money, but we wanted to come to the event.
Right.
So the co-founder and CEO, Pablo Gonzalez at the time, and myself would come to the event with no money, with no budget. And we wanted to have speaking spaces.
Right.
Raul, the CEO, told us, okay, we're going to give you spaces, but you have to work. You have to help us in workshops. You have to give chats. You have to mentor people. You have to, etc. So we did like an exchange, and that's how we started working. And on the last year of the previous event, I remember Pablo told me, hey, we want to launch the app in the main stage. And once again, we don't have a budget. I'm like, come on, are you crazy? I mean, that is expensive. It's just how many $1,000s? I mean, we're not going to get it, etc. But I got it. And they also put us to work the whole week, 24/7. But I mean, happy to do it. I enjoy that a lot. So I became friends with Raul, the CEO. And when he started the new company, Talentland, he told me like if I was interested in taking part, and that he was looking for investors and he was looking for people, etc. So I started helping him. I brought him some investors. I introduced him to some people, and I told him like, look, we didn't used to have money at the beginning. Now I have money. I would like to personally invest in this too.
Beautiful.
And he told me like, really? But this is not an investment like Bitcoin that it's gonna go to the moon. I mean, this is not an investment that's going to make you rich. This is an investment for me to have this event running for 20, 30 years and to have my kids and my grandkids coming to the event. Yeah. And I thought, yeah, that's the thing that I want.
That's a great, not a get rich quick scheme like so many things are these days. And you know, the other thing, I think some great advice there for people listening. That's the way you create value. You know, you come in, Jose came in with no money. He was like, what can I do? I'll clean the toilets if I need to. You know, we just need a stage, please. You know, and then all of a sudden it's like value for value. You know, they're getting some value from you, you get some value from them. And over the time you get to learn the trade because you work for them. So now you know how to organize the event. And eventually you find some success. Now you can reinvest in the event. And you're at the point where you're effectively running the event.
Yeah, now I've been working with them for over 6 years. And not only that, I mean, we have done a blockchain-only event. So that is the only land that has evolved to an independent event. So 2 years ago, we did an event in Monterrey, which is like the second most important commercial industrial city in Mexico, besides Mexico City. And we had an event there, and for our first event, we had 30,000 people. So it was a very good turnaround. We had lots of sponsors. We had lots of people interest. So it was a huge success, and it was a first experience. I feel like
Mexican people really like to come and learn about things at these events. You know, it's really nice to see. They're a very open people where they're like, if there's something new going on, they'll go and explore it, find out about it. I think it's very interesting. It speaks a lot to Mexico. It feels like maybe the future of Mexico is going to be very, very interesting because so many people are taking in this information and will end up working and making partnerships.
Yeah, and it's also like a global effort. I mean, you've seen it. Like, yeah, part of that is the government and the sponsors, but we also have a lot of schools, universities. We have hundreds of communities. So we have a year-long work around this to have everything together in place to make it really happen. Besides setting everything up for the week of the event. I mean, during the year we're doing alliances, we're doing communities, we're doing little events, we're getting to know this and doing stuff around this for people to know what the event is about and why is it worthwhile coming the whole week over here.
Sure. And the other thing that you mentioned to me, this is what I like about Talentland. It's a little bit different because it's not just an exhibition, like a conference, like typical. As far as I can tell, you've got some DJ event going on later where people can go and they can compete against other DJs and hopefully win tickets. Not tickets, a place to play.
Yes.
At Creamfields, if I'm right.
Yeah. So
that's crazy.
So
it's not a normal conference.
We also have a creative land here, and there you have artists. Actually, you have some winners of Oscars, Oscar winners here that are going to be on our main stage. So you have their musicians, DJs, artists, architects, everything creative, writers, musicians, etc. So we also have a lot of DJs and musicians, and we did a partnership with Greenfields Festival. So there is a year-long competition in Latin America and worldwide, and the finals are here this week. So they're in the party. Everyone's dancing in the main stage, and we're partying and dancing, etc. But there are judges,
right?
And they're judging, and the winner gets to play live in Greenfields.
The judges aren't partying.
No,
they're concentrating.
The DJs they are competing. I mean, there's DJs from all over Latin America that have already got selected for the finals, and then I mean it's part of the party. But they're also
I've been to a lot of conferences and I've never seen anything like that. That's going to be really cool. And not just that, you were talking about before you set some Guinness World, because you had so many people coming to these events.
Yes.
You set some Guinness World Records as well, right?
Yeah, we have won some Guinness World Records. Actually, we have one for Bitcoin and blockchain. We did that in 2022 with government on Nuevo León and also Binance. So there we established the Guinness World Record for the biggest class of cryptocurrencies. Mm-hmm. It wasn't easy because we had to do it twice because they're very strict and they got most of the people disqualified. So we had to do it twice. We have also won the Guinness World Record of the biggest software class, the biggest robotics class. We have the attempt for the biggest math class. That was huge. I mean, there's Julio Profe, who is one of the biggest, not only influencers, but edutubers in Latin America and the world in mathematics. Mm-hmm. And he's huge. He was just here in the main stage. For that record, we needed over 8,000 people. And we almost made it, but they took so much time to count people, etc., that some of them were getting bored, sleepy, looking at their phones, so they get disqualified. Yeah. So we have also had other 2 attempts of Guinness World Records, and we actually have right now 3 or 4.
Today?
Yes.
This in this talent show?
No. We have had in the past.
So far in the past. Are you trying anything in the show?
We were gonna do 2 this year. Uh-huh. One of them just dropped off, unfortunately, last week. That was gonna be cool because it was gonna be a blockchain one too. So, but probably we're gonna have an attempt this year.
All right. Well, keep me posted on that.
Yes, of course.
I want to be part of it.
Yes.
What have you got coming up? Tell us, what's, I guess, aside from just Talentland, you're involved in many other things as well. So what projects have you got coming up, and anything for the Hive community as well that maybe we would be interested in?
Well, for the Hive community, if you still don't follow, you can find me as josepimpo. Yeah. And there you'll see, actually, most of my adventures going around the world in conferences, I posted on Hive.
We've seen it. It's really awesome. It's really
because
awesome.
I normally only post some photos in Facebook and some photos in Instagram or Twitter, and I mean it's fun and people get to see what I want. But there I can also write about it and what it is. And I was involved in a best-selling book a couple of years ago, which is Philip Kotler's Marketing 5.0, and they have been pushing me to write a Bitcoin and blockchain book. So I told them okay, I don't have the time and I don't have the focus right now to do that, but I'm gonna start writing about it and some place that you're gonna be able to look it up in the future. So what I expect in the future is they're gonna look at all my Hive posts and all my social media posts. We're gonna do some interviews, and the book is gonna come out of there.
Out of there. Do you know, we're doing something very similar. We're posting all of our content to Hive video form, me and Dan. And we've done 101 shows of CTT podcast, right? So we've got probably 300 hours of us speaking about crypto and the state of it, the good things about it, the bad things about it, what we believe, where it should go. And then what we're going to do is just feed it into an AI learning machine, and hopefully produce a book from it. Yeah. We'll do it in a more roundabout way than that, but I think that's where it's going, you know. And hopefully,
for me, for the book that I wrote, interviews work real good.
Yeah.
But besides that, I mean, here is like my personal walkthrough and story. Like I've been now for over 10 years in the Bitcoin and blockchain industry. My first company was 2013, so that was early. Mm-hmm. And well, besides that, my latest company a year ago was a Bitcoin ATM company, which is AxoBTC. Yeah. So right now we had 9 Bitcoin ATMs in Mexico, and I say we had because we have just merged the company with another friend that actually is going to come here. And he was the creator of the Chivo wallet for the government of El Salvador. Mm-hmm. And he also established the network of ATMs in the country. So he already has a lot of experience, not only building software and the wallet that, well, is one of the most used wallets in the world. And on the other side, he already established that network of over 200 ATMs in the country. Mm-hmm. And he has also developed a lot of things. And me too, like in all this over 10 years, I have gotten involved in lots of projects. So we started talking. I have been running the company with him, but not as partners, but as helping with the operations. So some weeks ago, I proposed to them to merge the companies. So now we have 31 ATMs in Colombia and Mexico.
All right.
We were creating our own software, so we won't depend on the software of the ATMs, because most ATMs do not let you move anything around in their software. So, for example, some of them just have Bitcoin and it's only Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. Some of them only have some cryptos and it's only cryptos. If you want to integrate a wallet or an update or another token,
you have to go through that.
Wait, you have to pay. Maybe they're gonna reject the offer, etc. So, right now we just raised a seed round, and with that we're gonna finish off the software. We're gonna buy some new ATMs that are gonna running with that software, and it's gonna be more than an ATM company. We're gonna integrate bill payments, wallets from either crypto exchanges or from fintechs, etc. We're gonna be able to integrate other cryptocurrencies and a lot of things that we're gonna be able to do around the ATMs, and we think it's a big opportunity. I mean, there's almost no competition in Mexico, Latin America for this business. Mm-hmm. There is almost no one that is doing something outside the ATMs, and remittances, cash, bill payments is huge in Mexico and Latin America.
Sure.
And we also are going to explore their options. One of the partners have already sports betting, so that is something that we want to explore too. We only need to look at the regulation in each of the countries, etc., and also expand to other countries. I mean, there's opportunities in Venezuela, in Argentina, in Brazil, in other countries. So, I mean, we're just getting everything signed up. We haven't made like the formal announcement yet because we still need to do some things around. I mean, we already agreed to start working, and we have already started working, and that is my last adventure.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's going to be so exciting. I mean, I live in Rosarito, and you know, it'd be so good to see a terminal there some day. We just go and do all of our crypto business on the terminal, pay all of our bills with it and everything. A lot of people associate to that.
Yes.
You know, a lot of the original Bitcoiners and crypto people, maybe they do everything digital, but most people, they still need that physical terminal to feel like there's something going on. You know?
And I mean, we're going to accept cash, but we're also going to accept crypto and hopefully other fintech wallets that are going to be integrated there.
And you know, a big one for us as well is if we can get out to Bitcoin, we can show people how they can cash out to Bitcoin through your terminals into cash, and then it becomes like a real thing. You know,
yes.
They're starting to use this technology. They're like, oh, I can actually get cash. And as long as it's small amounts, it's fine. Everyone kind of wins then, and there's not too much regulatory issue as well. So I think that's really, really going to be interesting. The other thing I remember you talking to me about before was doing events in malls. So you want to do exhibition events in malls, right? And
Yeah, I have some of the ATMs at malls, and I also have it at a very cool co-work that is in one of the nicest zones in Mexico City. It's in the corner of a street called Mazarik, which is one of the fanciest streets in Latin America and in the world. And there we have, for example, the ATM, but it's a co-working and influencer content creator house. So they're associated with TikTok, for example, and they have a huge number of influencers, and they help them grow, make them more professional. They have spaces, so almost each room has a different thematics. Like if you're a gamer, like if you're into fashion, if you want to do like a round table, etc.
it's a bit like Talentland.
Yeah, a little one. And they also have their auditorium. So the spaces that right now I have gotten the ATM theme, there's also opportunity to create interaction with people, not only for the ATM, but things around blockchain.
Oh, it's going to be so cool. I really look forward to maybe we're doing some work with you on that in the future. And hopefully we can get some Hivians to your ATM exhibition.
Yes.
Do you know when your first one is? Or have you set up something separately?
Or
Have you got a specific date for the first exhibition?
No, not right now. I mean, I wanted to do it before the event, but it was a little bit hard.
Yeah.
But now after the event, I'm gonna be a little bit more time. So I want to plan the agenda
Properly,
for the next weeks and have everything signed up, and also have the right sponsors. There are some companies that are also interested in coming into the Mexican market and Latin American market, and sometimes they don't find how. Or they're on the other side, there's a lot of sponsors here at my event that want to do things year long, and I don't have more events. So that is a way also to help them out and to make this grow.
Really cool, really cool. So last thing, I guess, I just want to touch on you, get your thoughts on as a long-term Bitcoiner is the kind of KYC of things that's going on, where you've got the regulatory side. So it seems like Bitcoin's getting to this place where it's being accepted in general society. But it's often via a KYC app, which kind of was not maybe the original vision of the original Bitcoiners that got involved. And now we've got high fees, or getting more and more high fees on the there. It's kind of hard to get around that system in some way. I don't know. It certainly helps us work with the local authorities. But do you feel like there's going to be some cases for solutions in that side of like a parallel system that's non-KYC versus a KYC system? What are your thoughts on that? Because it seems that's where the industry is going at the moment.
Well, it's funny because since I started in this, I mean, Bitcoin was worth some $1 million. I mean, nothing like you see right now was just worth less than $10. I mean, nothing, no? And since then, regulators have always asked, so when is Bitcoin be updated to comply with our regulations and regulators? I'm like, which regulators and regulators? There's over 100 countries, and each one invents different things each year.
Sure.
And even for banking, I mean, I come from stockbrokers. Even there, they change laws every year. And they have to change stuff in accounting. They have to stay in statements. They have to change stuff. And it's a nightmare. Cost, it's inefficient. It's bureaucratic. It's bad. And honestly, like, unfortunately, you see that KYC doesn't work that well because most of the financial crimes, money laundering,
they're in KYC
evasion,
systems.
they're in the government and they're in banking. I mean, when they tell them like, hey, what do you think about that organized crime or drug dealers could use Bitcoin? I mean, they could use Bitcoin. They have used Bitcoin. But you know how much they have used? I mean, it has been reported, for example, by Chainalysis and other that it's $10-20 billion. I mean, it's a big amount. But you have every year $1 to $3 trillion being laundered.
Right. They've already got the perfect mechanism.
I mean,
why change?
And that's not the worst thing. In banking and in the government, there's impunity. So you have cases like Ross Ulbricht that has 2 life sentences for doing a marketplace, and then you have HSBC that has the biggest money laundering in the world, and no one is in jail. No. Then you have whole governments that conspire with them and help them break the rules and bend them and launder money, and none of them are in the jail either. So it's a little bit unfair.
It's difficult because for guys like you who are in this industry, and you're going to come up with these terminals and things, it's obviously a concern to you that you want to make sure that you're on the right side of everything and you don't end up like Ross Ulbricht. For example.
I mean, for me,
it's unfortunate, it's difficult to predict.
I mean, there are some crimes that shouldn't be crimes. I mean, it's stupid because in the U.S. and in Latin America, you have created this huge black market industry about marijuana and drugs and cocaine, etc. People want to do it. Well, you shouldn't make them go to jail. And if there's an industry like in the U.S., I mean, federally it's a crime, but almost in every state it's lawful, and you can do the business. And since it started, I mean, like, I don't know, it's over like 20 years now that marijuana has been legal in the States. And since it started, I started looking at the numbers. And for example, in California, it's been like 15 years since there is a bigger income of taxes from marijuana than from Starbucks.
Right.
So, I mean, you can make it a good business and established business, etc. So that is on one side. For me, that shouldn't be a crime. It only need to be taxed and also have education information. The worst part for me is other crimes that are happening that is part of organized crime. One of them is human trafficking. That is a huge problem here in Mexico because they kidnap people that are trying to jump the border, not only from Mexico, but from South America and from Central America. They get kidnapped, they get ransomed. Then you have, for example, remittances growing exponentially, but the economy is not growing exponentially. So there are extortions, there are kidnappings, so
it's remittance to the black market.
Those
basically.
are the crimes that for me are the most harmful and should be avoided at all costs and should be punished. And they're also not being very punished because it's hard to see. And I mean, I used to work in investigation services and intelligence, and you see the numbers. And when they talk about slavery and Africa, etc., right now in the world, there's more slaves in all the history of humanity. And they're all hidden in a basement or in a room or somewhere. But there are so much slavery right now, and you see it. I mean, you can see all the documentaries, and there is even whole towns here in Mexico that kidnap women and have them all they're being prostituted. You have all the people jumping into the border. Yeah, well, illegally, but man, they're trying to get a better future. They shouldn't be kidnapped. They shouldn't be held for ransom. I mean, they should be getting a job to. For me, those are the worst things that could be happening. And yeah,
it's more direct as well. It's less. The so-called financial crimes that are happening because of Bitcoin or blockchain they're not as tangible as that of a crime there. So what do you think that blockchain contributes to reducing those types of crimes in the future? Or do you think it's completely unrelated?
No, of course it will. I mean, the more it becomes more easy to use it, I mean, it's going to be part of that economy too. Now, the difference is, like I said, if you do it in banking, most of them will not get punished. In banking, it depends on the country, but in Mexico, every 10 years, all the databases are erased. So if you have a financial crimes for 20 years ago, there's no way to investigate them. And the advantages that you're going to have is if they do it with a stable coin, if they do it with Bitcoin, if they do it with anything except Monero, there's going to be a trace permanently of that. So there's going to be a way that if people are really committing crimes and harming people, there will be a way to punish them beyond those 10, 20 years that you cannot do it in there. So yeah, it will. The economy will continue growing. The use will continue growing. The users and the application will continue growing. Also, the people in organized crimes and doing crimes will grow. What we need to do is for not them to be a majority of the users, and also enhance like technology, like chainalysis in the right way, not for trying to find out, oh, you probably owe me taxes, or you're trying to avoid this, or you're trying to make a crime. No, avoid real crimes.
Right.
And help them enforce and punish when they happen. And And
you get the
that's
two
a
links.
small part. That's a small part because it's an organization that has a lot of parts. But cracking down from here and break everything down, that is what should be happening.
I mean, if they could do really well at linking those types of crimes with the financial side of it in the investigations in the blockchain side, and I think it would really do a lot for the image of the regulators and the investigators, you know, the moment you don't see it. Oh. I'm sure it will happen, though, with people like Jose talking about it. The other thing, I guess...
on the good side, I mean, if you look, you've lived there in Mexico, you've seen Latin America. Most people have never had a dollar account. Most people don't even have a banking account. Most people cannot transfer internationally. Most people cannot get a loan. And this is helping people from Argentina, Venezuela, Mexico get loans and do all this stuff that before this they couldn't do it. I mean, now with any stable coins, like, it doesn't matter where you are from, you can have it. Before that, oh no, you're a certain country. Oh no, you're this. Oh no, you don't have enough money.
That's the thing, man.
You don't have all this paperwork done that you're not gonna even use in your lifetime or work.
Yeah. See, to me, that's the key thing. That's what I wanted to get onto next. You know, you look at the downside of the potential criminal committed, right? But then if you look at the upside of the amount of people that can get access to banking and transfer of value, right? At this point, with this technology, it's orders of magnitude greater than any financial crimes that are going to be committed. And it's like, that's what I think we should be trying to focus on. It's one of the reasons that we're so passionate about things like Spend HBD and Hive, because in Venezuela, you've got so many people. I mean, you saw when you met me, you're the big guy in town, right? Everyone knows you know your name. But I remember there were people coming to selfies with me, right? And, oh, nice to meet you, Jose, but couldn't get a selfie with Starkerz. And you'd speak to them like, you helped me so much, because we've been supporting people for years in this system. And literally, because of the situation in Venezuela with the currency, and we can distribute for blogging stable coins to them, they can kind of avoid, or at least ease themselves through those times much more easily than what they would have had to if they were just dealing in bolivars or other currencies. And that's the thing for me. It really changes people's lives. It really does help a lot of people. And I just think this idea of having seamless banking, it's going to be a big thing. It's going to be a game changer.
And getting people into financial services. I mean, not only banking. Like I said, most people don't have access. You look at the numbers in Latin America, between 50 to 80% of every country in Latin America do not have access to financial services. Yeah. That's a lot.
It's a lot. Yeah. And they live, you know, the other thing I like, I don't really like it, but there's a potential is the favelas, right? I always see people talk about Bitcoin citadels. We're going to build a Bitcoin citadel on top of a hill. I'm like, bro, they're already built. It's the favelas. All you got to do is support them and figure out ways so that they can start making their own businesses and putting capital in stuff.
And like you've seen in Salvador, also give people an option. I mean, to look, it's not only organized crime or crimes or stealing from people that you can do. There's options. There's technology. You can get connected. You can get into these other businesses, etc.
Yeah. Right, final, any thoughts on HBD or the future of that? I know you're aware of it. Is it interesting to you? Are there any upsides or downsides to it?
I mean, there's a lot of interesting things. One of them is having no cost. I mean, that for example, USDT Tether is the most used one, but they're always jumping from blockchain to blockchain because to find a cheaper one. Sure. And although they have this huge volume, they don't have an option that is with no cost. Mm-hmm. That is very interesting. The other thing, even if you don't like Hive or blockchain, I mean, the payments, the APR you're right now getting, I mean, there's almost no places that you're getting that, so that is also exciting. Sure. And on the other side, I mean, for people to just start playing around with Hive, I mean, you don't lose anything. Like what you post in your Facebook, you can post it here. Yeah. And if people like it, you can start getting an income out of it.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing that I find amazing about this, you know, because most coins will say to you, you've got to invest in that coin. At some point, it's like, where do I invest in this coin? At some point, you're going to say that to me, right? Whereas with this system, we don't want anyone to invest. Just earn it. Just earn it from the system by being social, you know. And then you realize, oh, well, how's that a scam then? How's it a scam if I don't have any money in? And it's kind of, that's how it works. But all good, Jose.
Thank you.
Coming. I don't know if you've got time to stick around with Manu or not, but good speaking to you as always.
Oh, likewise.
And I'll look forward to having a good dance with you a bit later on with the DJs.
Yes, of course, in the stage.
All right, all good.
I'm going to go for...